Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I am Minister LaTasha with some quick words of encouragement for you guys on today. So today in my drive time, that's where the Lord speaks to me a lot. It is when I'm in the car alone, because I don't have any distractions if I'm driving a long distance and I don't have my radio on or I'm not on the phone. He deals with me a lot in my car. He speaks to me. He gives me visions. It's crazy. I could be driving and my whole windshield will turn into a vision. But that's just how awesome our God is. And so today while I was driving and I was just talking to God, just having a regular conversation with him as I always do. And I started talking to God about standing on his promises. And I was telling him how I still have some promises that I'm believing him for, even though the enemy tries to make me doubt that they are coming, but I'm still standing 10 toes down on the promise as I did for my house when God promised me a house. And just to give a little backstory about my promise for my house, I became a homeowner last year. God blessed me with my house. But God had promised me a house, and he did it. He confirmed it in multiple ways. And so in my mind, I had it already envisioned what house and how it was going to look and where it was going to be at and all these things when God promised me a house. So when I started actually looking for my home, I started looking for these particular things. And so when I looked at properties that was not these particular things, then I wasn't putting in offers. I was going and putting in offers for other homes. And in the midst of me going and putting in offers for these other homes, I was getting outbid. It was like I could never not get the house under contract that I wanted, because I was just getting outbid, because at the time people were coming in overbidding $20,000-$30,000 over asking prices, because of course you know how the market is. And so one day my realtor, he called me and he was like, "Hey LaTasha, I know we looked at this particular house before, but I want you to go back and look at it again. But this time when you go to look at the house, I want you to go in with an open mind with the house. Don't just look at it, but have an open mind when looking at it." So I'm like, okay, well, I didn't really remember which house we were going to or what it looked like. But I did agree to go and look back at this house. And let me tell you how God is. When I came to look at the home, it's like when I entered the house, I started seeing it from a spiritual aspect. I started seeing it totally different than how I viewed it the first time that I went through the house. An elder couple were the owners of the home, and the house is a little older, so like every room was different colors. I didn't like the flooring. It's just their taste was just older. It's just like things, I just didn't like the things in the house. But when I came and when I looked this second time, it's like God opened my eyes and he was just showing me the potential of the house. And he was just showing me what it was going to look at once I started renovating, and I changed this around and I switched this around and I do this and I do that. It's like I started seeing it from a totally different view, and I got excited about the house. And so I was like, yeah, I want to go in and put in a bid on this house, And so let me tell you how God is when when you trust God in your promises. So I trust God in this, and I came in, and this time I didn't come in over the asking price, and I didn't come in under the asking price. I came in right at the asking price, and I got approved. That was one thing God did. And then the second thing God did is they were telling me that I was going to have to bring like $8,000 to the table for closing costs. The day of closing, I was called, informed that I didn't have to bring anything in to the closing table. So I didn't have to pay anything down for the house. And also when I got to the closing table, I received a check. Like, how wonderful is that, to go in expecting to be writing a check and sending a check out, but receiving a check. But that's just how our God moves. And all I had to do was just trust his promise and trust his plan for me. And he worked things out for my good. And ever since I trusted him with the house, I have truly been blessed in the house. Like, the enemy tried to come up and he was doing things within the house, and God showed himself to be even bigger. He has blown my mind in this house. I have been able to renovate and do things in here that God has provided me the funds to do things for. It hasn't been hard. It hasn't been a task. I had like something come up one time when my pipe backed up and it flooded my basement, and I was wondering how was I gonna get the money to get this basement redone, and God blew my mind with how he showed up for that. And I'm totally being able and in a place where I can get this house exactly how I want it. And I'm excited and I love my house. I always thank God for this house. I love this house. I treat it as though it's a mansion, because it is. It's my mansion. It's my blessing. And I give God all the glory and all the honor and all the praise for it, because he's the one who blessed me with it. So he will get all the glory and all the honor and all the praise. So while I was in the car and I was telling God, that I'm standing 10 toes down on other promises that God has given me, the same way that I stood 10 toes down for the promise of this home. And God spoke to me and he said, remember, with you standing 10 toes on that promise, that you did have to go back and revisit this house. You had to go back and look again. And when I tell you that hit my spirit so hard, I pulled off the road. I had to get off on the next exit, and I just had to talk to God and praise God, because that really blessed my spirit. Because a lot of times we do overlook what God is trying to bless us with, simply because it's not in the package, the shape or the form, or it doesn't come the way or the direction that we want it to. So we overlook that thing, but God be having a major plan in the midst of that blessing. And if we just trust him, if we just trust him, like I was just like, God blew my mind with that. I couldn't even drive anymore. I had to pull over. And I pray that you guys catch that in the spirit with two hands. Do you hear me? He said, don't forget that you had to go back and relook at that blessing. You was about to forfeit that blessing. You was going after what you wanted, but not once did you pray and seek God on which house that he had for you. You was going after what you wanted. And so the key here is that you need to seek God first in everything that you are desiring him for. Because see, this is the thing. We want what we want. We want what we feel is best for us. But God sees past us. He knows what's ahead of that. He knows what's to come. So he's blessing us. He's trying to give us the best. See, what we think is the best may be mediocre. It may be the best for right there. It's like a picture. You ever looked at couples' pictures on social media and they look so happy and and you be like, oh, they so cute as a couple. They look like they so in love. I want a relationship like that. But behind that Polaroid picture, they is whooping each other's tail. They cheating. They ain't faithful. They ain't no loyalty there. Ain't no respect there. Ain't nothing. And if you really knew what was behind the picture, you would never want that for yourself. That's how it is when it comes to these things that we're believing God for. We want what we want because we think we know what's good for us. We think we know what's good for us. And the truth of the matter is, sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we should be scared to trust our own judgment. If our own judgment that got us in some bad situations in different areas in our life, then maybe we need to take our hands off of it and start seeking God in things that we want and things that we requesting. Because who better to give you and know what you really need than God? He is your creator. So of course he knows what's best for you. So that just really blew my mind, and I was like, God, you're right. I was about to forfeit your promise, your blessing for me, simply because it did not look the way I wanted it, or I thought or felt it should look at the time. And so ever since I've been in this house, God has been blessing me tremendously, and I have been doing everything I can to keep this house up, and I love my house. I just really am grateful for it, because God has truly blessed me with it, and with the things that's in it, and with the things that I've been able to do in it. And when I tell you that when I started doing the things that I needed to do in this house, God spoke to me again. And you know what God told me? He said, because you are faithful over the few, over this, which is the few, that I'm going to bless you with major. So your next house, you'll be able to put this house inside of it. That's how great and mighty it's going to be. And I praise God for that, because that's what God is trying to tell us in this season, that if you're faithful over the few, if you're faithful over the small things, he'll bless you with the major things. So stop overlooking what God is trying to bless you with simply because it's not the way you thought it should be, or it doesn't look the way you thought it should look, or it didn't come from the direction or the person you thought it should come from. And simply trust God's plan and seek him in everything. Seek him in everything that you believe in him from. And when he gives you a promise, ask God to prepare you for that promise which he has given you and to lead you to that promise. Y'all, God is so awesome. Like, he is so awesome. I mean, he really is. And I am just so excited about the things that he is doing in all of our lives. All we have to do is trust him. And a couple of you guys need to go back and revisit some past prophecies. People, you have received some prophecies in the past, and maybe you received the prophecy like in 2019 or 2018, and because it's September 2022 and it hasn't come to pass yet, you done threw the prophecy by the wayside. You have completely given up on it. You think that it's not going to happen. You think maybe it was a false prophecy or whatever. You allowed the enemy to creep in and doubt because it didn't come to pass in your timing. And then here you are right here at the grand entrance of that prophecy. But because you done threw it to the wayside, you about to delay something that can be about to manifest. Do you hear me? So you need to revisit some of them past prophecies. You need to seek God on those things and stop allowing the devil to get in your head and have you forfeit and to doubt what God is doing for you and what he's trying to bless you with. He don't want you to have good. So why would he? You think that, let me tell you. You think that when God has something miraculous and awesome for you that the devil don't know that it's miraculous and awesome neither? You think he don't know? That's why he come and attack that. He don't want you to connect or have a blessing, something major, something great that God has for you. He's going to come in and make you doubt that thing. He's going to come in and do everything he can to get you off track, to get you off course, to get you disconnected. That's what he does. That's his job, is to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And then the sad truth is we let him in so easily. We let him in so willingly. And then we in prayer every night. Well, God, you promised me this, and God, when and I'm going to get this, and I'm believing you for this. And a lot of us, God has sent this thing past our sight 4-5 times. And because we too busy looking for it another way and not asking God his way, we missing it. But if he promised it to you, guess what? His word is going to come to pass. So it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen simply because you got off track or you've been distracted or you've been given these blessings and these promises blind eyes. It just means that you're delaying the process. It's delayed and not denied. So I want to ask you guys today, what is it that you need to go back and revisit and take another look at? You know, God has great things in store for all of us and all of you guys. And I don't know about you guys, but I am just excited and in expectation about all that he has for me. So if I'm overlooking an area in my life, or I'm overlooking somewhere where he's trying to bless me, or he's trying to change me, or he's trying to deliver me, then God, bring it back to the forefront. Let me revisit that thing so I can get it right, because I don't want to miss the mark. And I pray that you guys are the same way, because our God is awesome. He really is. And he really has a blessing with your name on it. So I pray that this word has encouraged you guys on today. I pray that it has touched someone's heart on today. And whatever it is that you need to take another look at and revisit, do so and take it before God. Ask him to reveal these things to you. Ask him to prepare you for the things that he has for you and to lead you to the things that he has for you. Ask him to strengthen your discernment so that the enemy won't deceive you with what you think is from God that's really not. You know, and I just pray that again that this message has been a blessing. If you guys have any prayer requests, please email the email address listed in the description box below. Also, if you would like to sow into the ministry, that information is listed down below as well. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like, and share. Help me to reach many with God's words and his love and his, you know, I just want to let people know how good he is, because he is good. So if I touch one person, I have done some great deeds for God, and I'm excited. But I would love to touch many more. So as I always state on my video, I pray you guys have an awesome day, and remember to be blessed and a blessing.